Hey guys, welcome back. I'm Robin Rosado with Top Speed Golf. Today I have a great video for you. Those who are struggling with hip rotation on the way down, maybe you're finding yourself too handsy at impact, well, this is going to be a great video for you, so let's go and get started. Alright guys, so like I said, this video is going to be talking about hip rotation. Most of the time, what I see a lot with people is they slide through impact. So that's going to be the biggest part in today's video. I've actually got a student, an online student of mine, who used to struggle sliding through impact, and then we got him getting him to rotate better on a downswing. So let's go and take a look at his swing here, the before swing. So if you look at his swing right now, we'll notice that his first move on the way down is a little bit of a hip bump slide. So what that's doing in his swing is kind of creating like a block, a wall. So his first move is a slide, and then he tries to rotate, but because he's blocked himself out, he's not able to rotate. So then at impact, his hips got a little bit of rotation. But if you notice, right when his hands start to approach the golf ball, he starts to cast the club a little bit because he's trying to push the club to square it up. If he didn't do that, there's a good chance he may hit it way behind the golf ball. For him, he was constantly leaving a block out to the right. And he's actually a really good player. A lot of good players have a tendency when they start sliding, they can't square the club face up in time and they block it out to the right. Or some other people, they'll use their hands right at the last second and then they'll shut the face down and leads that wicked snap hook that nobody likes. So maybe that's you, you're struggling both right and left, and then you can't really get the hands to get the timing matched up just right at impact, and you notice at impact, he doesn't have much shaft length either. So now let's go look at the after video that we saw. We got him rotating, and now if he starts his downswing, you see he's immediately getting a left hip out of the way. There's almost no hip bump at all. So what that led to him, he was hitting the ball really straight, very consistent, and he was getting a little bit more compression on the golf ball. Hands are ahead of the club just a little bit more at impact, so he's hitting the ball a little bit further. So let's go and dive into the things that we worked on and then some drills that he also worked on as well. So let's go and get started. Okay, so let's go and get a good understanding of actually what the hips are doing in the backswing and in the downswing. So I got this alignment stick here and I've stuck it between my belt loops. This is going to give me a good understanding of where my hips are at and how they're rotating. But not just how they're rotating, but their angle of degrees, with my right hip's higher than my left, and on the downswing my left hip is higher than my right. So let's talk about that really quick. So as we're taking it back all the way to the top of our golf swing here, the proper amount of hip rotation as we go all the way back is usually going to be about a -10 degrees. So that means my right hip is going to be a little bit higher than my left as I take it back. That's allowing me to get a good full turn, coil up nicely in my backswing. Now the one thing I see the most when I see a little bit of a slide, most people don't have a lot of rotation in their backswing in general with their hips. But the first thing when we get a little bit of a slide is that these hips, so like I said, is a -10 degrees on the way down. The first move is that they tend to get too lateral, too level, so they're about 0 degrees early in the downswing. So right when the hands start to go down, these hips start to level out. So now they're at 0. You can see my left hip is bumping in this direction. I'm sliding in this direction. I feel a lot of pressure on the outside part of my quad here and my left knee as I slide on through impact. The actuality is when we start our downswing, we're going to keep that same angle. It starts to narrow out, but not until where my hands are about waist high that this is going to be about 0 degrees. So I've gone from -10, my left hip is lower than my right to give me a good full turn. And as I start my downswing, where my hands are about waist high, and that's about tour average, this is going to 0 out. Now as I continue on through, I'm going to open up that left hip. Now my left hip is actually going to be higher than my right. It's going to be about a +20 degrees, almost double from where it was on the way back. So now you can see I'm now lateral. As I open up, I'm about +20 of my left hip. That's going to allow me to get the proper rotation, really open up at impact. So about 45 degrees open at impact. Shoulders going to be about 10 degrees open at impact, allow me to get the proper rotation with not much slide. So let's go and get into the drill for you guys to help you get that feeling that we want to rotate better instead of slide. Okay guys, so let's go and get into the drill. First, I'm actually going to hit one here, not allow myself to rotate. I'm actually going to try to purposely bump. I used to struggle with it, so it might be pretty easy for me. So let me hit one here, focusing on I'm going to bump on it instead of actually letting myself rotate. And I'm going to share with you the numbers here. All right, so I actually blocked it out to the right. Not too surprised about that because I really felt like I couldn't get my hands to square up at impact. So I slid on it, face was coming in open, and the only way for me to square it up is if I allowed the face to shut on through. So I didn't really hit all that great. As you can see, I blocked it way out there to the right. So I'm not too worried about distance on this one. It didn't read all the numbers, but as you can see, it went way out there to the right. So on this one here, I'm gonna do this drill like I'm talking about. And we're gonna focus on rotation. So just like you were in the gym, this has been great for you guys who go to the gym a lot. If you go in the squat machine, I want you to take your club, place on the back of your shoulders here, and get in a good athletic stance. So you can tell if I was on a squat machine right now, this would be like pretty similar. Now as I rotate on back, I'm gonna focus on what I just showed you guys, that right hip getting to about a little bit 10 degrees higher than my left, getting me to a good full turn. And you can see where that buttoning club is pointing at least behind that golf ball. Now I'm loaded up. Now here's the deal. Remember before I was talking about how the hips, when we slide, the hips level out too early. I want you to feel a deeper turn, and this is where you're really gonna feel that motion of a squat on the machine, right? On the squat machine. So you start your downswing, I want you to actually start to squat on the way down. So now, this will be right around here is about the point where my hands would be starting to get to about waist high. So the hips should be level. But if you notice, as I squat, I am bending the knees a little bit more. But also, if you notice, my knees are not coming together, they're actually separating. We want this left knee to rotate out in order to get that left hip out of the way. So then at impact, it starts to straighten out. So let me go through that again. I'm gonna turn, rotate, get a good full turn. My right hip is 10 degrees higher than my left. As I start my downswing, I'm gonna start to squat. I'm gonna feel a deeper turn or bend in my right glute now. As I rotate on through, get to where my hands are about waist high. Now I'm in that good squat position. Just like if I were in a machine, a good squat right there. Now I'm able to rotate that knee on out, get the left hip out of the way, and there's impact, 45 degrees open. And obviously you're not gonna be this open with your chest at impact, but that's gonna give you the right idea to utilize not only the ground, but get those hips rotating instead of sliding. So I'm gonna hit one here. I want to focus on that move. Take a couple of practice swings. Let me do that again. Let me run through that. So we're gonna do 10 of these. Over exaggerate. This is an over exaggeration feeling. As I allow myself to open up and get on through 10. And then I'm gonna do some full swings, feeling that same motion. Now I'm ready to go and hit the ball. Again, 10 of those. Oh yeah, way straighter. So allow myself to get rotated. That gets my body out of the way, and now I can deliver the club face square more often. Okay guys, so we just dove into how to use our hips properly, especially on the way down. But I talked a little bit about it, how we can release that club. So you've got your hips moving, but you actually need to know how you're gonna release it. Well, Clay's gonna talk about that in a second here, talking about the straight line release. It's gonna be a preview, so you're gonna wanna click on that iCard to get the full version of that video. So good luck guys, have fun as always, and play well.
Common misconception I see is that we want to create lag and we just want to hold that lag all the way on through contact and get as much lag as we can coming through contact, and that's simply not true. In the release section, we're going to talk about how to turn that lag into energy, how to turn that into speed so that you can hit it very far and do it, like we mentioned, without hardly any effort at all. And as we're coming through contact, we're going to fully release this angle as we're about 45 past contact. So if I draw, a 45-degree angle, I should be looking at both arms, nice and straight, the club splitting those arms, so that by releasing the club, by getting this angle to release as we're coming through contact, that's what's going to create the speed. Our hands are moving a very short distance, our club is moving a very long distance through contact, and it creates that whip-like effect.
Very different swings hitting the exact same position. So first let's take a look at Dustin Johnson releasing the club 45 past. And the reason we're going to see such different swings producing similar positions is that this is the real physics of how this has to happen. Here we're looking at Sergio Garcia. Again, we're going to see tons